I don't write for academia, I don't write for the teachers, I don't write for the doctors, I write for the potential audience. And so that Singing 101 book is only 70 pages long, and the avatar that I had in mind was a 66-year-old barbershop singer, male. And I thought, if that's my avatar, and then I marketed it to homeschool kids, then I've got really the whole gambling population. So, yeah, thank you. The other books, the Teen Girl Singing Guide, it turns out teenage girls do not buy self-help books about singing, so it only sells at Christmas time. And I realized my market for the Teen Girl Singing Guide was actually their grandmothers, and so that's where the first spark of singing through change for menopausal women came from. Yeah. Interesting. So thank you. Building. I'm glad you started young. That's great, because it takes time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Thank you so much for coming today. So let's start off with everybody using either the cards that are sitting around or putting your camera up at the screen and checking in, please. That helps the Kauffman Center or Kauffman Foundation know that we've got good attendance and keeping us going. So the mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. So 1 Million Cups happens all over the country, national and local. We work towards this mission through creating a consistent program for each 1 Million Cups presenter nationwide, while also highlighting the uniqueness and value proposition to our local startup community. So again, they're all over the country. We are the only one in New Mexico. If you are traveling, you can hop in and join one anywhere at 9 o'clock on Wednesday mornings. You can also hop into any of them virtually as well. And today we are broadcasting nationally. So the pillars, these are presentations and not pitches. We're not looking for investments here. We're looking to hear your story. We want to know who you are, what your challenges are, what your successes are, and why you do what you do. As far as the networking, it's not just going around and passing out business cards. We really like authentic connections with each other. And it's run for the community, by the community. All of the organizers and sponsors are all completely voluntary. We do this because we get something out of it too. We enjoy the interaction we have with all of you. And really important, we are radically and intentionally inclusive, meaning that everyone is welcome, all types of businesses, brick and mortars, life coaching, tech startups, everything in between. So at 1 Million Cups, we want to know what the community can do to help you. That's a big part of your presentation and what we want to hear about from you. We've already talked about that. We're a national program, takes collaboration. We were just talking about this a moment ago. Being an entrepreneur is a challenge, right? You're doing everything on your own. You don't have to do it alone. Get help from the community with you. If you have a business, hopefully or preferably 5 years or less, you've sold to somebody other than your mom, and you'd like some help and guidance and feedback from the community, please apply to present. We have our lovely organizers to talk about now. Paul is not here today, so you get me. And lovely Lisa Adkins over here. She's our main coordinator, keeps everything going and keeps the rest of us in line. Eric is probably online somewhere. I am Danielle Slubeski, and Sonia Newing, I think, maybe online too, and Oscar and Keiko are out there teaching high school kids and doing all of the videos for us. And our sponsors, obviously Fat Pipe, thank you so much. We've been here 10 years and wouldn't be able to do it without that. Dry Heat Photography, making us all look good every week. Thank you so much. Miriam, More Than Organized, organizing your thoughts and all of your stuff. Noventum Custom Software, providing donuts every morning. For the Foundation for Sustainable Living, providing our coffee, super important. And Minuteman Press, doing all of our printing stuff. All right, well, thanks for joining us so much. If you want any more information, please log into the bit.ly account there. And now, without further ado, I think Lisa was the one that has coached Miss Nancy here, so I'll pass off to her.
Thank you. Nancy Bowes, inspirational speaker. Come on up, Nancy. We're going to start with her video, so let me get the screen ready.
While she pulls that up, I want to say I'm so grateful to you all for being here the day after Halloween and in the middle of this sacred time. Thank you for being in this room together today. I'm really grateful for that. I'm a professional speaker, and a professional speaker needs to have a story video. And so what you're going to see first is my story video to introduce a little bit about who I am, and then I'll go into more detail after that.
My name is Nancy Fox. I'm a voice scientist, researcher, and author of best-selling books on voice. I'm also a professional singer and speaker. You may be motivated to change the stories that you tell yourself. And yet, it took me 30 years to find my voice. Even though I started singing as a child, I wasn't able to overcome my performance anxiety. I was well into my 20s and couldn't even sing in front of friends. My hands would shake, my mouth dried out, I'd feel nauseous, and my breath would get stuck in my throat. Later, when I started teaching voice, I realized this problem was not unique to me. It didn't matter how many tools I gave my clients, if they didn't believe in themselves, then all bets were off when they really needed their voices. And today, working with teams and professionals, I know that it's not just singers and performers who lose their voices when they need it most. I've seen executives and high-level professionals simply not be able to share concepts that they know inside and out. I've heard stories of entrepreneurs who are afraid to communicate what they need in their businesses. One subject matter expert told me that he never feels confident enough to speak up in meetings about his projects, even though he's the expert on the subject. The technique that I developed to overcome my own stage fright not only changed my life, but also the lives of my clients. Many of them have gone on to star on national Broadway stages, win the RuPaul Drag Race, and live their best lives as successful singers, actors, and speakers. My corporate clients have launched brands, become subject matter experts in their fields, spoken in front of large audiences, and grown their businesses to new levels. Today, I share my Empowered Voices Boss method with audiences across the globe. One of my greatest joys is receiving letters and messages from executives, managers, and employees telling me how finally being able to communicate confidently has improved not only their work lives, but also their personal lives. When you empower your voice, you become authentic and confident. You experience a greater sense of peace and satisfaction and are able to connect deeply with your purpose in life. You stop wasting time with fearful distractions. My passion in life is to help as many people empower their voices as possible. The more we empower our voices, the more fulfilling our world becomes.
These are going to be needed later. So everyone, please take a kazoo.
Guys online are missing out.
And apologies to the people on Zoom. If you have a kazoo at home, you might want to go get it. So as I said, my name is Nancy Voss. I have, in this story, you see 25 years of experience teaching voice, with both speakers and singers. And then during that process of being a part-time voice teacher in academia and at home, I also had time to write some books. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the books. This became Studio Boss Media, the publishing company, which was the books and also podcast and some other things that I've done. This I'm struggling with the zapper.
It's probably because I took away the screen. I need to make Laura a co-host so she can help me with the waiting room.
So the first book that I'm going to show you is a book called Singing 101. And I wrote this first in 2005 as a CD set back when there was no internet to market to. And so I literally had a bus with an advertisement in Seattle and I sold a CD from that. So 1,000 of those CDs I gave up, and about 10 years later, transcribed it, turned it into a book that I self-published on Amazon in 2017, and it has been on the bestseller list over and over again. And the audiobook, the cover you're seeing there, is the #2 audiobook on voice in the world for 5 years now. It's also turned into a Singing 101 course and had it translated into Spanish. And it continues to be a little gem in the field, even though it's only 70 pages long. After Singing 101, I realized that I had a tremendous amount of knowledge from teaching lots and lots of teenage girls over the years. But because of life changes with my children, I needed to stop. So before I stopped teaching all of those teenage girls, I wrote them a book. It's based on the Myers-Briggs personalities, where 4 girls walk through the book with the teenage girls and give them ideas of what they can do with their amazing love of singing. I also wrote singers practice planners. Yes, a bunch of blank pages, and they are also very valuable to students. But Singing Through Change was the game changer. I wrote that with 2 other co-authors. We did research on 56 women's voices through menopause and aging singers, and what the impact was on the hormone changes on their singing voices. This is the only book in the world like this. It has been well vetted by the medical community and the voice community, and it is actually giving us opportunities to speak all around the world. Last year I spoke in Vienna, this year in South Africa. I've done Zooms in England, we've done them in China. Just a really phenomenal opportunity. We felt like after this book was done, we could all die and we'd have made the difference in the world that we needed to make. But then we found that there was a huge need for more collaboration. So we started an online event during the pandemic called Celebrate Singing. And we had about 300 women who sing attend these events. Now, that isn't something that any of us have had the passion to maintain. So Celebrate Singing is no longer an active part of the community. But where my passion did go after doing the research for Singing Through Change was to realize that the stories that people tell themselves make all the difference in how they get through challenges. For myself, my severe performance anxiety, I had to reinvent my stories. I had to create narratives that worked for me instead of against me in order to overcome my performance anxiety. So through that and through doing the TEDx and then learning, I realized that all the tools that I'd given all of my students and clients over those 25 years didn't matter at all if they didn't believe in themselves. So empowering people's voices is absolutely my passion and my mission in this life. So to that end, in the center, you see the Empowered Voices or Empower Your Voice podcast. I've written a course. Your Empowered Voice is on Udemy. The lower one, the blue one, is Empower Your Voice articles that I publish on LinkedIn and to my newsletter every week or 2. And then finally, the Empowered Voices World Tour is the big story. And that is when I get a paid speech someplace other than Albuquerque, then while I'm there, I also interview people and I find out what it is that has empowered people along the way. These are pictures from the Empowered Voices World Tour that I did 2 legs this year. I did the west coast of the United States up to Vancouver and the Rocky Mountains. And then I went to South Africa and gave 2 presentations there and wrote the Empower Your Voice course. And then I went up to Copenhagen and Amsterdam and was able to work with people in those 2 cities as well. In those conversations, that is my research. I'm learning who are the people who have overcome the big fears, the big obstacles, to live into their greater purpose, to really make a difference in the world. I would imagine most of you have overcome some major obstacles as entrepreneurs and business owners in order to make the difference that you're making in the world. We've all got these fabulous stories, but you also know that there are millions and millions of people that feel unempowered. They feel stuck, they're afraid, they don't know how to break through that wall or even if they dare to do that. So through this research of talking to empowered people, I have about 25 interviews so far, and I will collect up to 100 of those. They're fantastic stories, everyone from Canadian opera singers to a Zulu librarian who's trying to open up a library in in Limpopo, which is one of the tin shack villages in South Africa. So that leads me to what I'm doing to make a living, because doing that research is costly rather than bringing in money. So I speak because of overcoming my own fear to share the gifts that I've been given to make the world a better place. As a professional speaker, I help all people speak their authentic truth without fear. I am a full-time keynote speaker and a workshop leader. I give inspirational speeches, a fear researcher, and a voice expert. I don't work one-on-one with clients very often anymore, unless it's something quite urgent. For instance, I had a woman 2 months ago in LA who was about to do a TED Talk. She'd lost her voice, she knew me, and so we got on a phone call and we talked about her solutions, which then she was able to solve that and she got her voice back. I have been doing the course, royalties from my books, and then on the side, researcher, author, and podcaster. So that is my entire Studio Boss business. I have a few people who support me as contractors. And there is my contact information. My biggest mystery in my business right now is I'm passionate about doing the research and learning these amazing stories. And honestly, interviewing people is one of my gifts, absolutely. What do I do with these amazing stories? How do I share them, but not just share them for free, right? How do I make sure that the work that I've done, that energy that I put out there is supported with income coming back in? That's my biggest challenge right now. Thank you. Oh, the kazoos. So has everybody got a kazoo? All right. So at every Empowered Voices event that I do, it's heavy stuff and people are much like you. They're like, whoa, that's heavy. And so we always have fun with the kazoos afterwards. So everybody first, please make a sound with your kazoo. Let's see if you know how. Oh, going through the fat end works better. And what you have to do is you actually have to hum. You have to make noise with your throat. Yes. Danielle, could you give me a kazoo, please? I forgot to get one for myself. And Lisa needs one too. Is there anybody who can't make a sound through their kazoo yet? Thank you. All right, so go. Yes, that's it. Awesome. All right, so now we just need a song. And this is always the big challenge is what song are we going to play? And I don't feel like I can usually tell the audience what the song is going to be. Anybody like have a burning song in their head that the universe has dropped in there that you're like, yes, this is the song? Yankee Doodle?
She'll be coming around the mountain.
She'll be coming around the mountain. Those are definitely polar opposites on the PC spectrum. So I like She'll Be Coming. That kind of fits the season. Yeah. All right. So let's see. It's something like she'll be coming around the mountain. She comes. Yeah. What'd you say?
I don't know how to go, but
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have another song in mind since he doesn't even know how the song goes. How about the theme from Star Wars? Can you do that a little louder? That's the one. And then we'll do that twice in a row and then we'll stop. Okay? Okay. All right, here we go. One more time. Somewhat successful. I'm gonna blame it on the acoustics of the room.
Like I sing.
That is everything I have to share with you this morning. Please enjoy your kazoos, take them home and share them. They are actually a really great vocal tool for vocal rehab, aside from just being fun. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, stay up there. Just making sure, so you can post questions online. And I have chat open so that I can watch. Let me move this over here so we can see Danielle.
That's the one I was. There it is, nailed it.
So yeah, if anybody has any questions or would like to offer Nancy any feedback, please come up. And when you do, introduce yourself and make sure you've got the mic up close to your mouth so we can all hear you.
I'm gonna try to get your contact info here.
Hello, Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. You have tons of great content and definitely possibilities for even improving the monetization of what you already have out there. But what are you recording these interviews or are they just notes or a combo?
Yeah, they're all video recorded, and audio recorded separately. So pretty decent quality on most of them. Potential documentary material.
Yeah, I saw both a documentary and breaking out each story on your podcast.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any
Hi, you guys, come on up.
documentarians, I would love to hear from you.
Legacy family,
Legacy family.
Keikoa and Oscar.
Oh.
guys that work there.
Of course, thank you.
We'll give you their info.
Hi Nancy, I'm Coco, the founder of Cincy Beer. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I found it really, well, first of all, your story is very inspiring. I also happened to start my business through, my first product was a book on, an ebook on Amazon that I also self-published. And so I'm really curious to hear more about how that went, if you marketed that book, if it was just an instant success, and that would be really interesting for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Coco. I'm sorry to say it is a little bit of a lightning in the bottle book. I think that it was really important to establish who my target market was, which is about 50 million people. And that is that I don't write for academia, I don't write for the teachers, I don't write for the doctors, I write for the potential audience. And so that Singing 101 book is only 70 pages long. And the avatar that I had in mind was a 66-year-old barbershop singer, male. And I thought, if that's my avatar, and then I marketed it to homeschool kids, then I've got really the whole gamut of the population. So, yeah, thank you. The other books, the Teen Girl Singing Guide, it turns out teenage girls do not buy self-help books about singing. So it only sells at Christmas time. And I realized my market for the Teen Girl Singing Guide was actually their grandmothers. And so that's where the first spark of singing through change for menopausal women came from. Yeah.
Interesting.
So thank you. Building. I'm glad you started young. That's great because it takes time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael Wald online. I've just pinned you to this. Do you have a question for me?
Hi, Michael.
Go ahead and unmute and ask it if you like.
Hi, I was curious about, you mentioned your book was at the top of the Amazon list. I was wondering if you used one of Amazon's promotional programs to help you get there.
That's a great question. Occasionally I have used Amazon's promotional programs and sometimes it works. I have not gone in depth and I haven't hired an expert to do that. So I think I'd have better luck if I had actually somebody who knew what they were doing. But occasionally I've had, and especially in the beginning, I had pretty good luck with the marketing on that in 2017 through the Amazon programs. Also, I click on it, or I did at the beginning, multiple times every day. And I bought at least 40 copies full price. Now, I have a friend named Jen Gottlieb who just put out a self-help book that just shot to #1. And that is because she literally bought hundreds of copies, not on her own credit card, but on somebody else's credit card. And on Amazon, if you buy 100 copies in one purchase, it is only one sale. And so that 100 copies needs to be another 100 transactions. And she then had all of those sent to all these people like myself that said, yes, I'd love to have a copy of that book. And so there are definitely ways to game the system on Amazon. I hope that helps, Michael.
Yes. So does your book mainly generate speaking engagements, or do you make money from the book itself?
The book is a nice set of royalties. Honestly, it's about $12,000 a year royalties on that little book. That's it. It does not bring me in because it's very 101. It's very basic. And so any formal director or voice teacher who anybody's got is going to be able to teach that same thing. But the book started with a 55-year-old man who said, I want to take voice lessons, but I'm too scared to even come in and sing in front of you. Is there anything I can do first? So that's the level of that book. So I do recommend thinking of the audience size for your books. If it's 50 million people, you're probably going to be able to sell 10,000 copies.
Athena, do you have a question? Okay. We'll come back to you, Sue, in just a minute.
Hi, Athena Christodoulou of Seesaw Power. I have to say I've been battling for 60 years plus to be able to speak.
Yeah.
And you may want to take a look at 2 possible communities to reach out to the Toastmasters International They are focused on building leadership, but the first step is to be able to speak.
Right.
And the second one is something I have struggled with and even talking about it is neurodivergency. Because one of the characteristics of neurodivergency is called selective mutism, which means at some point, and for me, it was like all the time, you cannot speak. The brain and the mouth do not work together.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. I appreciate those thoughts. Yeah, Toastmasters I've never gotten involved with. And the selective mutism, I have not researched, so thank you for that very much. I couldn't help but notice that you had your hand on your heart while you talked about your brain. And one of the things that I teach is that the voice box is a gateway between the head and your head. So if your head is telling you one thing and your heart is telling you something else, then the voice is likely to shut down because it needs to be a gateway until those two agree. And so I'd love to talk with you more about how that might fit into that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sue Prolazny, you had a question?
Yes, good morning, and I'm sorry I missed some of the beginning due to the audio issues. Nancy, how is it that we can help you? Where is your quote unquote pain?
Thank you very much, Sue. The pain is honestly around all of the footage that I've got. I will have 100 interviews. I've got thousands of photos, but the interviews are the important part. And they can change lives. Believe me, if you hear the stories that I've gotten to hear about felons who've, a 5-time felon here in Albuquerque who started a business and how that's changed his life and the life of the people around him. And I've got so many amazing stories like that. How can I use those stories to change the world without continuing to 100% volunteer my time with those, but instead get some kind of financial return? Thank you, Sue.
Hello again, Danielle here with Conscious Crossroads End of Life Services. I'm an end of life coach and death doula. So what you just said to Athena really struck me, and thank you for bringing that up. That idea of the head and heart being integrated and working together as one, and when they're not, what that can cause sometimes. That was beautiful, so thank you. And I wanted to make sure I get on camera that we will send you the information for Oscar and Keikoa for legacy family documentaries.
Great.
I think they'll really be able to help you put all of this together in a manageable documentary. And then there was someone else I wanted, and Sonia, our other organizer. I would like to hook the two of you up because she does publishing and book stuff, and
Great.
so can help with that as you were talking about the Amazon stuff and all of that. So
Thank
yeah, thank you.
Come on up.
I'm Daniel with Paterno Group, Graphic Design and Marketing. Thank you for a lovely presentation. I'm wondering if you could share a little tidbit or morsel of knowledge of maybe how you shift your mindset about overcoming fear with public speaking. I mean, I'm sure it's not simple, but maybe there's a little simple thing you could share with us.
I'd be happy to. So making that shift for fear of public speaking or fear of speaking to your boss, or, well, you don't have bosses, fear of speaking to your spouse, your partner. There are a million different pieces of advice that you'll find if you Google it, that will teach you how to overcome the symptom. Like run up and down the stairs, or drink a beer, smoke a joint. Do some kind of yoga move, something that brings you back into the moment. But those are just treating the symptoms. You unfortunately actually have to get to the root of the fear. You have to find the trauma that caused the fear. Now, for most people, they can remember a time in their life when they were confident. You're like, yeah, I used to sing for the entire family reunion when I was 6 years old. I was amazing. Okay, what happened after that, or what happened during that caused you to get the message that your voice wasn't as worthy as other people? But there is one woman that I talked to in Denmark who's 67, and she said, no, I think I've been afraid since birth. My mom told me so many times how difficult my birth was, and it was like 15 hours, and I think I've been afraid since then. Whoa. But finding that source of that trauma and then healing that not only impacts your comfort of speaking in front of other people, but it changes your whole freaking life. It allows you to travel around the world and talk to strangers. Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. So for me, my specific journey was realizing that the trauma was the source of the fear. Going to, in my case, hypnotherapy. A coach or a psychotherapist can do this. My course on Udemy also does this in smaller, DIY doses. And then after you have overcome that trauma, your body is still trained to react with fear. And so your head will be like, why am I shaking? I'm fine. I know what I'm talking about and I feel good. Why is my body shaking? That is just retraining the nervous system. So you have to get up there and do exposure therapy 10 times, 100 times. Personally, for me, I sang in front of retirement people, stuck in their chairs, their wheelchairs, having to listen to me for, 15 concerts at least before I really okay, I got this. All right.
Hi, Ken Jackson. I've never announced this, but I'm a published author and a professional speaker as well. I've done workshops in town and in other states. And the way I was able to actually get paid to do that, you mentioned your target market and wanting to actually put together the videos and information that you have. I began to really go after the groups that had the target market within them. So I did go through Toastmasters as well, but the organizations that I went after mainly focused on the target market that I wanted to talk to, that would benefit the most.
Got it.
And just as an entrepreneur here for 30 plus years, those were the years that I made all the mistakes, still making some, but I made the business mistakes, quit my job, and the whole story went through those years. So those were the actual individuals that I targeted. So just suggestion might be with the video, with all the videos that you have and all the information, is there a particular target audience or target market that could really benefit the most?
Yeah.
And if there is, then maybe look for organizations. I went online and I just start targeting different populations within that age group that I would talk to. And then they start, asking me to speak and doing keynotes and things of that nature because of the topic and the actual target of the age group.
Fantastic. So thank you. Thank you. I had light bulbs going off. I've targeted women in construction. I've targeted women lawyers, but one of my passions is entrepreneurs. So is there a national entrepreneurial conference that I should be applying to speak to? So, yeah, thank you.
Good morning, Jay Pullen, New Path Wellness. Interestingly enough, you spoke of hypnotherapy, and that's one of the things I do. So,
fantastic.
Anyway, in a way, this was an unfortunate day for you to speak because one of our attendees is also working his way into being a paid speaker, and so I wanted to bring you back to the issue of Toastmasters. That seemed like there was a little bit of a drop in your affect when you heard the word Toastmasters. But there is a group within Toastmasters that he's been involved with, and that's what they do is help people figure out where the money is for public speaking, basically. So I think the first thing to do is to connect you with, his name is Norm Dawson. Everybody will know who he is. And that's what he's about right now, is the same thing you're doing. His particular subject is hearing and dementia. But that would be a great start for you to see if Toastmasters does actually have something to offer you. That's his chosen path. So afterwards, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you, and I can help connect you with him. So
thank you. You're absolutely right about the drop in the energy about Toastmasters, because I'm already a professional performer. I've taken the stage thousands of times, and I speak as a subject matter expert around the world. And so I thought of Toastmasters as a training ground for people to learn how to speak. But you just told me it's also a resource to learn how to get paid. Right. And so thank you. I did not know that.
So I like your talk. You kind of drawn some connections for me of like how I got over some things.
Ah, good.
Okay, and one of the things that kind of connects, like the singing and the speaking, is that there was a time, like I was still getting nervous in front of people, and I picked up, of all things, figure skating, and had to perform on skates in front of people. And what I found was that this, like, you know, because it's hard, but it's also not important, right?
Oh,
Right? So like I could go out and do it, and I'd be nervous as all get out, and
yeah.
just not wanting to fall on my butt. But you know, as I did that and I got comfortable, I was speaking in front of people was like nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And similarly, like you offer something that's maybe not as crazy as that, but like singing. And like you said, getting in front of, you know, once you've overcome your internal things, getting in front of people and doing something that sets you off course, right? Brings in that comfort that makes it possible. And I'm thinking like this, the Toastmasters connection or the speakers connection, maybe kind of bringing in that idea of maybe even like a corporate executive or whatever, you know, maybe somebody who wants to be a corporate executive, just learning to sing enough so that they can get in front of a retirement group or something like that.
Yeah, to retrain.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's your name?
Michael McDonald.
Michael, thank you. That's fantastic. I appreciate that. There was one more piece after the retraining of the muscles, and that is sometimes the shadow story will come back. And so then it's important to have somebody, a mentor or someone else who reminds you. Sometimes it's you're good enough. You wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have supported you if you weren't good enough. And sometimes it is like Michael was just indicating when he said it wasn't very serious, the figure skating. I think that's an amazing analogy, by the way, that you have to keep your balance while your whole body is like, yeah. I think that's awesome. But it's just like, you know, it's not about me. I'm not that important. What's important is the impact that this message has on the audience, and then your ego hopefully will get out of the way. Yeah. Thank you. I'm really getting the Toastmasters thing hammered home. Thank you, everybody. Cool.
Hi, I know Nancy. We're
Yes.
not strangers.
We're friends.
But we met about a year ago. I'm John Patrick, Amazing Life and Enchanted Lands. And I attended your workshop at the Source, which was very cool and kind of, how do I say this? Inspiring, but also like not, the subject was serious, but it wasn't like heavy. And so I enjoy your presentation, the way that you take things that are really heavy that can be based in trauma and kind of lighten it up and make it like, it can be fun getting through this and you know, and exercising your voice. I was really inspired about your world tour that you did last year, and it was kind of amazing to see where you were going and what you were doing to help people. And this question kind of came back to me. I've been kind of performing, but not thinking about it. But when you're a musician and you get in front of people, you're performing. And I always get this little performance anxiety, and I just kind of stuff it.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not singing, if I'm just playing the guitar or doing my electronic music or the flutes or whatever, what would you say is a good, like, quick little exercise I can do to just kind of like overcome that quickly?
Yeah. Thank you. Stuffing it is not a terrible solution because it gets you through the moment, but it's just treating the symptom, right? And so I personally tap into the greater spirit. And the minute that I can be like, oh, the light, then my body seems to dissolve, the stuffing is gone, and I can just give the message that needs to be given. And that's what I did while the video was playing. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I closed my eyes. Yeah, I get to help change some more lives today. And that is what I do in the moment. And I know you're capable of doing that.
And then the next question, I'm sure this may be on your Facebook, on your website, but when are you starting the next phase of your tour?
When I get more cool speaking gigs. So the tour was based around me having a thing in Vancouver, San Diego, Las Vegas, 2 in South Africa, Copenhagen, and Amsterdam. That's how that tour happened. I am speaking in Knoxville in June. That's my next booked gig, aside from Albuquerque. And so I'll be doing the South this summer. So right now I'm out there pitching organizations in the South, in Florida. I've been invited to go back to all these places, but I really need to have a payoff as well. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say this is very inspiring. I've been following your story people need to hear about what you do and what you're doing to help them and community and help speakers. And I'm just so grateful that I know you and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was nice send off. We have 2 more questions, Nancy.
Okay.
Red or green?
Green, I'm green. I'm all green. I hate Christmas.
And what's the one thing this community can do for you today?
Today. Come and talk to me or reach out to me from my contacts. If you have a light bulb about these interview videos, or if you need to be one of the people that I talk to about your empowered journey.
Nancy, a round of applause. We finally have a queue of speakers. Nancy graciously moved up a week because we didn't have a speaker this week. So anybody who's ready to represent, please apply. We're always looking for presenters. I don't have a long list of events today, so maybe, Ken, you have any? If anybody has an event that they'd like to share.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I presented a long time ago. When people present, do you still go through a whole process, teaching what they need to do, or what's that?
Yeah, so yeah, 1 Million Cups presentation. And by the way, they did, Kaufman did change their platform around COVID and a little bit before. So you may have to go in and make sure that your account's active. You have to have an active account on the Kaufman platform. You have to apply every single time that you want to present, even when you get the 6-month reminder that, hey, we want to hear an update, you still have to apply. And yes, you get in the queue, the organizers review the application, we communicate with you via email or the platform. We'll find a date that works for you and we'll give you a 30-minute coaching session and help you put together your slide deck. So there's always coaching involved. So let's come on up. Yeah.
Hi. Hello. So nice to see you too. Grand Rising, everyone. I'm Julie Morrell with Urban Mama 505 Kombucha, and I'm just announcing an event. I would like to say thank you to everyone who has come by the kombuchery. It's been so great to have so many of you in and to see our space. We are hosting an event this Friday. It's First Friday. We call it our Brick Alley Block Party. And we're featuring an array of food trucks, musicians, and vendors. So that will be this Friday, starting about 5:30. But we have a lot of exciting things happening at the kombuchery. We're expanding the menu and doing some increase on our branding. And much of what I've learned has come from this group. So I'm just so very grateful. And if you're out and about on Friday, please come by and check us out. Thank you.
Where?
Yes, that's 1014 Central Avenue Southwest. It's right at Central and 10th. And just remember, that's US Route 66. Thank you.
Hello again. So this is for the city. Ken Jackson, also the KJ Effect was the brand, but now with the city. Thank you very much, Chuck. You're looking out. We will be having our Southeast Quadrant Small Business Resource Fair the 15th of this month from 4 to 7 at the Manzano Mesa Multi-Generational Center. Come on out. City will be there planning, zoning, all the other resources. And if you would like to have a table, it's free. If not, just come out, network, meet some other business owners. And, we want to provide as many resources as we possibly can to our small businesses. Cool?
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you send us an invite?
Why, yes, Chuck, I will send you an invite.
The small business fairs are great, by the way. Miriam Ortiz-Pino, More Than Organized. Last month, I started doing a complimentary webinar a couple times a month, and the next one is on tomorrow, actually at 4:00. It's the Declutter Masterclass. If you'd like to check it out, morethanorganized.net, and the sign up form is right there.
And me, I'm doing a music performance the same night this Friday, November 3rd.
There you go.
And I was one of the performers with Julie Urban Mama. She's wonderful. And if you're out seeing her, you can come across the park into the alley to the Old Wall Gallery, where I'll be doing soundscapes with Zuiva Sevilla, who's one of the 12 break art artists from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who's doing an amazing installation with heat and sound and interactive experience. So that's between 6 and 9. Hope you all can come out, and I'll have some cards if you want to get one after. Thank you.
Athena Christodoulou, it is not my event, but I want to encourage everybody to vote. Voting day, the last chance to vote is election day, November 7th, but we have early voting in town, and you can go to any voting spot between today to Saturday, and then you have to wait till Tuesday to finish it out. So please get out there and save our democracy.
Is that possible? Phil, you have a shout out. You want to share your shout out?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that 1 Million Cups does a really good job with helping entrepreneurs. You might remember too, Vivek, the guy who had the non-desktop terminals that helped businesses in like manufacturing and hospitals and those kind of things. He and I are continuing to talk and to develop, possibly develop how my strategy and his strategies can interlink with one another. So that's an ongoing concern that we're chatting between us. And the other one is the guy, Paul, who had the alternative glasses where you didn't have the frames. Both Alan Ramos and I are helping him to develop his business on the side, if you like. So we're helping him to actually promote his business in the market. So it's it works for entrepreneurs.
Cool. Thanks, Phil. As long as we're on shout outs, does anybody else have a shout out they want to give? Okay, we have a couple more minutes. So how about newbies? If you've never been here before, I see some faces, or you haven't been here in a while and people may not know you. Please form a line right here. And let's introduce yourself. Tell us who you're with and how you heard about us. Maybe if you have a need, you can share your need. Make sure you stand about in front of the sign so they can see you online.
Hi, Katie Pertrick here. I was connecting with Stuart Rose, who told me to come to this event. So I'm a neuroscientist by training. I've been working as a consultant in bioscience for the last few years, and I just moved to Albuquerque, and I'm just excited to kind of hear about all the new innovative things happening here. So this was a great opportunity for me to come and hear from you all, and really, really a fantastic job. And, public speaking is something that is challenging for a lot of people, and just a lot of the points that you made really hit home for me as well. So it was kind of fate, for me to be here and be able to listen to you. So thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, my heart's coming out of my chest right now.
Mine, when I stood in that line, was also coming out of my chest. There's something about that line.
So my name's Stephen Cuomo. I'm executive producer of Santa Fe Fashion Week, and I've been a member probably for a good 8 years, but haven't been back since COVID. And I'm concentrating a lot more on like fashion films and videos for businesses and stuff like that. But it's good to be back.
Yeah, welcome.
Hello, my name is David Nanimit. I'm leading Rosetta Design Group. Rosetta Design Group does protein engineering, protein design on the computer. And one of my goals I introduced myself maybe 18 months ago. One of my goals is to learn more about running a business. I'm a scientist by training. Business has never been my forte. And so I need to, learn from the community about that.
Sounds like you should present. Thank you.
I am Daniel. I have a company called Paterno Group, graphic design for print and screen. I've had the company for about 30 years. It's a real passion of mine. And a funny conundrum of mine, I also have another business. I don't know if anybody shares this challenge, they're similar. I'm also a hairdresser. I have a little salon suite down in Uphill. So yeah, I have a little two-faced car, which is kind of and that's it. Thanks.
Awesome. Anybody else? All right. Well, guys, I'm not Paul, so he always does a great send-off, but we appreciate everybody coming. It's great to see we have a good crowd today for the 1st of November. We always need speakers. Please apply. We'll coach you. It's so easy. It's not scary. And this group is so supportive, and connections are made. People start working together. We can help you solve your challenges. So hope to see you next week. Thank you.